Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on some of the fallout from Boruto Chapter 79. And today, I want to go over something that I've seen a few of you guys bring up in the comment section, which is now that Boruto has had his life uprooted by Kawaki and Ada by using Ada's Shinjutsu to reverse the lives of Boruto and Kawaki, where everyone thinks Kawaki is Naruto's natural born son, and Boruto is the one who's being hunted down right now for killing Naruto and Hinata. Boruto is now at a crossroads with Momoshiki, and the belief is that at some point the two of them will end up having to work together. Now, longtime viewers of the channel know why I think this stands a chance to be the case, and it's not due to it being a Naruto and Kurama situation, and more so because of the Japanese folklore that serves as an inspiration to Momoshiki's character. But I think in universe there's enough here for this line of thinking to bear some fruits. So starting off, in order to understand why I think a lot of you guys are actually right here, we have to look at what we do know. So we know that Momoshiki and Boruto are being forced to share a body with one another due to Momoshiki's soul being attached to Boruto's body and Boruto being the vessel container for Momoshiki's soul. We know that Momoshiki has warned Boruto there will come a time where Boruto falls into despair so great he gives up all control to Momoshiki, but we also know based off of the flash forward sequence that Boruto will eventually regain control from Momoshiki as well, so it's not going to be something long term. However, just because Boruto regained control from Momoshiki does not mean that Boruto's Momoshiki problem has gone away. It's more likely that he's regained control through sheer will and through strength of spirit and mind. Momoshiki, on the other hand, would be back in the same position he's currently in, where he's relying upon Boruto living so he cannot see his soul extinguished into nothingness like Ishiki. It's something that Momoshiki flat out fears, with him outright saying that's why he saved Boruto from death. For that reason, it's not the craziest thing to say that Momoshiki sees the scope of the land and realizes Boruto's in huge danger. Their enemy Kawaki literally has an army of a village hunting down Boruto. There's no village on the continent that Boruto can go to because the five nations are on good terms with each other, and also their enemy has Ada on their side who can see Boruto's movements with her Sharingan eye, making it extremely hard to hide. Yet that doesn't change the fact that Momoshiki is incentivized to keep Boruto alive, because the moment he's captured by Konoha, both of them are dead. If Code ended up being immune to Ada's Shinjutsu, the moment he's fed to the Ten Tails, then Boruto and Momoshiki are dead. However, there is a way around what it is that we're seeing, something that serves as Boruto's only hope in the long term, which a lot of you guys point out in the comment section. Boruto is now facing the after effects of the Shinjutsu being used. Momoshiki just happens to have knowledge of all things Shinjutsu related, where he literally knows every Shinjutsu available to the Utsuki clan. That might not mean he knows how to perform all of the Shinjutsu. I think we can say that's something very safely that it's not going to be the case, but he has extensive knowledge of all the Shinjutsu itself. If there's a Shinjutsu available to Boruto that lets him hide himself or go into a dimension where only Boruto can access it, Momoshiki is eventually going to relent to sharing that information, because Boruto's failure is his failure ultimately. And failure in this case equates to death. Given that Ada possessed a Shinjutsu within a Shinjutsu and Kawaki's Dojutsu possesses two separate Shinjutsu abilities, it's not crazy to say that Damon has more than one Shinjutsu ability that hasn't been shown yet, one that he might not even be conscious of knowing he has, which is something Momoshiki would be able to figure out if he stopped and thought about the situation long enough. Look how he took hours to think about all the information told to him about Ada's Shinjutsu, and he put the pieces together while Boruto was sleeping. If we're right about Shinjutsu coming in pairs for these characters, similar to how the Uchiha have their Mangekyo, which have dual powers, one for each eye, it's not the craziest thing to think that Shinjutsu will operate in a similar fashion for anybody who has not achieved the status of a Utsuki god, like say Shibuya Utsuki. It makes a lot of sense that a god would have multiple powers like what Amato described, but keeping with the idea there are two powers for each non-god, we know of one potential Shinjutsu for Boruto, the ability to see a limited glimpse into the future. Boruto can't control it. It's safe to say that what he saw was a fluke because he was tapping into the power through Momoshiki because their consciousness have been mixed together. However, that also means that there is one more Shinjutsu ability Momoshiki knowingly has and has not shared with Boruto, and Boruto just happens to be in the need of something that will help even the playing field given how much the deck is stacked against him him right now, and there are two paths of Boruto gaining that power, which is most likely going to be something not used in combat. Otherwise, Momoshiki would have used more Shinjutsu abilities in combat when he was alive. One is through Momoshiki willingly sharing how to use the power, and the other is Boruto unlocking that power himself through the mastery of karma. Those lines that we got in the manga, that a true wielder of the karma seal is able to tap into both the knowledge of their Utsuki as well as their power, it wasn't something mentioned in passing by mistake. The language was purposely used right when Boruto was the one who was fighting against Code. Short-term booking, it was to show Boruto and Kawaki truly knew nothing about the karma, but it was also to show what happens when someone like Kawaki, who is more experienced when using the karma seal, actually awakens it. He was able to fully tap into the knowledge and the experience and all the Shinjutsu of his Otsuki. However, the most Boruto was able to do was get an incomplete power buff, but with how the narrative itself is going, Boruto isn't going to be able to survive unless he gains both mastery of karma, and even having proper mastery of karma still comes with a learning curve, something that we see in Kawaki, where even though he knows how to use Ishiki's powers, he's still learning how to use them in an effective manner, meaning Kawaki still has room to grow and Boruto is just that much further behind. I do think some of you guys are right that Boruto will begin to learn the Shinjutsu that Momoshiki knows and the knowledge that Momoshiki has, but it's not crazy to think that Momoshiki's forced to give Boruto the knowledge or access these powers willingly because his literal survival depends on it. It's why Kurama was in no position to bargain against Naruto when Naruto would say, hey, I'm demanding chakra. If Naruto died, then so too would Kurama, even though Kurama would be reborn after some time. Even when you look at it, even Kurama wasn't trying to die too soon. Death is something a seemingly immortal creature like Kurama was afraid of, and is something that a being like Momoshiki, who has lived for 1,000 years, is afraid of as well. There's a good chance he gives up the goods to Boruto more than once, giving him a path to seek shelter from being hunted down, and eventually either directly or indirectly giving Boruto more knowledge on Shinjutsu and the other ability Momoshiki likely has besides seeing glimpses of the future. Something like that would come in handy for Boruto, who is a wanted man right now, even if it's not knowing the context of what's happening. At the very least, having a vague idea of what's coming could be something that is a better use than going into a situation blind. When we look at the Momotaro folklore, which Momoshiki was based off of, Momotaro eventually defeats ogres who took over a village. Otsuki from Kishimoto's original draft for designs for Momoshiki and Kenshiki fused, and even Kodachi's writings in the Boruto movie novel and some of the Boruto novels refer to them as being ogres as well. While I don't see Boruto walking around with literal allies that Momoshiki had, it's not the craziest thing to jump to the conclusion that Boruto's other ally ends up being Momoshiki to a degree because of the nature of self-interest, which would be another case of the Naruto franchise taking something from folklore, religion, or mythology and twisting it around for the narrative. I do think if this is handled properly, we can avoid the corny bad guy becomes a good guy trope that we normally see a lot of shonen use, while still protecting Momoshiki as a character, because very quietly Momoshiki has become one of the best characters in Boruto, and between him waiting to patiently gaslight Boruto, laughing in his face after doing so, and Momoshiki not truly being on Boruto's side for anything other than keeping him alive, both for his own sake as well as that for his own amusement, there's a chance to accomplish both of these things. Switch up the folklore and help Boruto while also keeping Momoshiki protected for long-term booking, without remaking the let's go Kurama moment with a let's go Momoshiki moment, which I think all of us might die a little bit inside if that happens. However, I'm curious to know how you guys would handle this. Is it possible for Momoshiki to give Boruto knowledge of Shinjutsu without damaging his character? And how many of you guys believe that Momoshiki might be the key for Boruto remaining safe now that he's being hunted down? While you think that over, click here to watch my Chainsaw Man chapter 125 review.